This is the first time this season they've started in dirt. And man, is it a mess down there. You're starting in a deep rut. It's muddy before you even get going.
Ricky Carmichael picking the inside. The gate is dropped. We're off and running now for the 250s. Coming up the hill. John Dowd, a good start. Ricky Carmichael pretty good, but he gets boxed out a little bit in the corner. And mayhem in that first corner. Let's try to pick out some of the riders now. There you see Tortelli, number 21. Villeman is messed up in the first turn. Albertine, number 1, the defending champion, just leaving. Barry Hawk Jr., number 183.
I think back there to the right of the screen was LaRocco. So a lot of the favorites going down.
And out in front,
Carmichael already goes down.
And John Dowd takes the lead, number 16, Team Kawasaki.
Good time to pull that tear away, get your vision clean. I don't think anyone's going to challenge him right away. That's the best start Lusk has had this season. I think he'll be happy to sit where he is. Stay just out of the roost of John, and John can ride the mud, no doubt about that. He can ride the sand at Southwick. When the conditions get extreme, hot, rough, muddy or sandy, that's when John really shines. He's got the start he needs to go out and prove it today. That's the Cannondale four-stroke right there, running third, so a great debut for those guys.
Keith Johnson on that new bike, number 81.
And then Wyndham got a pretty good start. Shane King on that four-stroke art that you talked about is right in there behind Kevin in good shape.
Another look from the rear now of that first turn.
I think Tortelli got in there. It was hard to tell for sure. Got a little sideways. Japanese rider in the Honda got by on the inside, but look, there's Jeff Stanton. He's trying to help Tortelli get started. And there's Albertine, the defending champion, starting his day with a first turn pileup.
Right now, number 16, John Dowd, is out in front, the third winningest active rider with 6 career 250 motocross wins.
Well, I talked about earlier in the 125 as John just works his way around, nice on the throttle. So the lead he's already opened up. Talked about the start not being that critical. Yes, it is for vision, but if you're a good mud rider like Tortelli and Villeman, from what I hear, Villeman, according to Ryan Hughes, faster in the mud than he is on the dry. He was in that first turn pileup. I'm anxious to see just how far he can climb back up.
What a great break this is for John Dowd, who started the season with a back injury coming out of Supercross and really wasn't healed up during the first 2 races. Keith Johnson, number 81, in 3rd place on the new machine. The Cannon performing well in the mud.
Getting a little heat from Kevin now. Kevin has to go out and use some of the mud. The main line is being used by Keith right now. That good dry line that's starting to tack up because the rain has actually stopped now and it's getting a little stickier. Kevin's got to go out there to dodge that roost and ride through all the mud.
Ezra Lusk in 2nd place, and Ezra, this is a breakthrough day for him after 2 8th place finishes in the first 2 rounds. And there we have Johnson having trouble, and to the inside, Kevin Wyndham moves up another notch. Wyndham, this is the first opening moto at this racetrack on a 250. He hasn't got a whole shot. You mentioned earlier he was a great starter, but now he's moving up into contention.
Look how much he's got to fight the bike down that hill. Normally they come down that hill jumping 2 and 3, flying down that hill. And
oh, more tough times for Keith Johnson on the Cannondale. Picking the bike up, getting it back in order. We're going to have to take a break. Let's take a look now. John Dowd leading it with Lusk in 2nd, Kevin Wyndham in 3rd, Shane King in 4th. The 250's underway in the mud from Mount Morris, Pennsylvania. This is our 3rd round of the Chevy Trucks AMA Motocross Series. Greg Albertine, after getting caught in that first turn, David Bailey, is now in 15th place. And really, he came into this year as confident as ever that he was going to win the championship. This could set him back a bit.
yeah, it could, but he's also got to look at the fact that this is a 40-rider field. He took off last. He's all the way up to 15th right now, and in order to win 3 world championships, you got to encounter some mud along the way. So this is, we talked about the French guys being good in the mud. Albie's one of them as well.
Albie with a 4th at Glen Helen was much better than he really expected. In fact, he's ahead of last year's pace with the 6th at Sacramento. Here's David Villeman, currently in 8th place, battling back just like Albie.
Now, for any viewers that have heard me talk about how much I enjoy watching Villeman ride, coming up that hill back there, his throttle arm, his elbow was just about touching his knee. I mean, if you freeze frame this guy sometime, he looks so awkward out there, but he is starting to work his way up through the field, and Tortelli is hitching a ride with him.
And Robbie Raynard not far behind in the battle for 7th place.
Look at Villeman just blast by Larry Ward right there, no problem. And that's Jeff Stanton to the left there, clapping for Tortelli. Stanton is everywhere. You'd think he had a bike out there to get to all these different vantage points.
So Villeman holding off Tortelli for the moment anyway. Tortelli with 1 career win, and Villeman getting his win last week at Sacramento.
You know, these guys probably almost wish it would rain a little bit more. Just you see how it's one line it's getting in spots. Makes it pretty tough to pass. It hasn't been a problem for Tortelli or Villeman so far, but Villeman just makes his own line right there. Doesn't even worry about taking the groove, but the groove is really starting to develop, get dried out. It's a little tough to pass.
Wonderful balance by Villeman as he tries to put weight back on the machine. Tortelli coming to the inside, but Villeman got the traction coming up the hill.
Well, watch what he does right here. This is getting by the Japanese rider who's having a fine moto. Villeman just jumps up to the outside, goes, well, there's not really a berm here, so I'll just pitch it, square it back across, cuts over the main line, just makes his own line. And it sets him up better for the corner at the bottom. He was able to come in wide, dive to the inside, and make his pass.
Villeman and Narita having some problems there. Currently in 7th place. Regroups. He's having his best moto ever.
I'm sure he's listened to Jim Hawley somewhere along the way. The Japanese guys a lot of times come over and school under Jim Hawley, and Hawley was a great mud rider.
Tim Ferry, who won on this track as a 125 rider. Number 15. And Villeman, 934.
See, Villeman at that distance right there is just out of the roost of Ferry. As he gets closer, without goggles, he's going to have to take a different line and duck. It does no problem, just goes right around him. Villeman is moving. I see what Ryan Hughes is talking about now. He said Villeman is so fast in the mud.
And Ferry got sideways back there as Villeman just tears away from him.
The thing I like about Villeman's style, not so much as the looks of it and how his elbows might be a little low at times and climbing all over the bike, is that he's just so effective. He moves around. You can see what he means. Look at him. He's looking ahead all the way down that straightaway. He sees the riders down. He planned ahead. Doesn't lose any time as he goes through that corner. Most riders will come down and get into that berm and then realize there's a guy in the way, and they lose 5 or 6 seconds right there trying to get around.
Well, they certainly started the season hot with a third, a 4-4 at Glen Helen, and then the win with a 2-2 last week. There's Tortelli trying to make the move that Villeman made. Look at the mud starting to clog up all over the bike and helmet of Tortelli. And Mike LaRocco.
Looks like he might have gone down there. He's just trying to get things cleaned off. It's so frustrating when you can't even you can't hold on to the handlebars. You can't turn the throttle. There's nothing to touch that's clean.
We've got a study in contrast right here. Ricky Carmichael, who started in 2nd, is currently in 17th. We said he didn't like to be a mud rider. And the mud riders from France, like Tortelli and Villeman, who got poor starts, are up knocking on the door right now.
And there's Shane King coming down the hill. He's trying to hold off Tortelli.
Shane King moving into 5th spot in front of Tortelli. Villeman is now in 4th. Shane King reached a point of frustration this year. His first American motocross experience. He was 15th overall. He's not used to this kind of finishes. And then in Sunday morning's qualifier at Sacramento, he hurt his back, but it looks like it's okay now as he's holding pretty true there against Tortelli. But still out in front. In fact, he's led the whole way is John Dowd. More 250 action from Mount Morris when we return. Welcome back to High Point Raceway. Art Ekman, David Bailey, and Davey Coombs bringing you the action in a mudfest, really. But John Dowd has led this entire first moto for the 250s. That explains partially his clean gear. His last moto win was in 1997 at Binghamton, so he's hoping to pick one up here. For this week's Chevy Trucks Kawasaki bike setup, let's see what Davey Coombs has in store.
When it's a mud race like this, not only is it a tough day for the riders, but for the mechanics as well. Anthony Paggio is preparing Larry Ward's bike. Anthony, how do you set it up for the mud?
Well, Davey, first of all, we start off by trying to keep the grips dry and keep the seat dry the best we can for sliding on the starts. Then we put some mud guards up here for the mud roost when it's hitting them, and sometimes it'll help if they fall and not get the handle grips into the mud. And then we use mud tires that'll clear out real well. They get packed up and it'll sling the mud out as well as have traction in the mud. We also put foam on everything, so when the mud gets squirted up in here, it doesn't pack in, and it still packs in, but this allows it a little maneuverability to be able to still be able to shift. And we also do it on the other side, which is the brake side. As far as suspension goes, our suspension technician usually stiffens everything, and you might run a little more preload because the mud weighs a lot and it's going to pack it down and make it ride down in the stroke. So we do a little fine tuning with suspension too.
So they have all that to do, as well as constantly keeping the bike clean, because you can't work on a muddy bike.
As the great mudder John Dowd continues to dominate this particular race. Here's the battle for fifth. Sebastian Tortelli, number 21, to the inside on Shane King. King's got more horsepower, but Tortelli's able to make the move. Tortelli into fifth.
A puff of smoke coming off of Tortelli's bike every once in a while.
He's trying to clean his goggles off so he can see it. Here comes Shane King right back again. Oh, back and forth we go.
Well, I think King's been piling up all that roost on top of Tortelli's helmet. He was trying to get some of the mud off, so it was getting heavy. The visor comes down in front of you can't see, and he just thought he had enough of a lead on him to be able to clear it. It didn't work.
Those four strokes do kick up a lot more roost, that's for sure, as we take another look at John Dowd, our leader.
He just got a little bit faster momentum everywhere. Not going to be able to get that lapper at the bottom of the hill, but here comes Tortelli again, paddling through there. It takes so much energy. You're doing a lot of that. Plus the front of your boots gets caked full of mud. It adds a couple of pounds to each one of them, and it wears your legs out.
Tortelli, second here last year with a 3-2, and that's his mechanic, Shane Brew, looking on.
He's still paddling through that section. That main line now is starting to get really dry. As soon as you slip out of it, though, it's just 2 feet of mud.
Tortelli, a great conditioner. No question about that. Let's go down to Davey in the pits.
Shane, Sebastian got mixed up in that first turn crash.
Yeah, I guess he went down to the Rocco and Albie and stuff. I didn't see what happened, but the only good thing is Villeman was in it, and Ricky crashed somewhere in the first lap too. So we just got in the top 10 now, so we just have to do what we can do.
It's a survival run out there.
Just got to finish, you know. Bike holds together, doesn't overheat, get the maximum points we can, and go to the second moto.
Good point. I didn't think about that. Most of the contenders were involved in that first crash melee. And, well, Ricky Carmichael, the points leader, was the only one, and he was in second place, and he's faded back.
Yeah, these guys get Tortelli, Villeman, Albertine. They could all look around and see that the other guy was laying on the ground. Look at all the help for Tortelli. King goes by, nobody claps. Tortelli gets there, and everyone jumps out in the track. Come on, get up there.
Ezra Lusk in second place. And this has got to be a real thrill for him this year. After that devastating Supercross injury, had to sit out the entire season.
He looks pretty smooth. Standing up, finding his line. Look how clean he is.
A lonely ride in second place so far for Ezra Lusk in our first 250 moto. Back in '98, he won his very first outdoor victory for Team Honda. He held off Doug Henry in Moto 2 to capture that victory and go 2-1.
Hard on the power up that hill. Find that tiny little line right there all the way back down. Look at the balance it takes to just stay in a 4-inch wide line.
David, Lusk has a different method to ward off the mud there on his helmet.
Yeah, that looks like foam to me. I think they've got like air filter foam or something up there. And, you know, instead of having to tear that off later, the mud just sort of bounces off of it.
John Dowd still our leader with Ezra Lusk in second place and his teammate Kevin Windham in third. Villeman up to fourth.
Welcome back. Look at what's happened here. Ezra Lusk, number 11, running second, went down. So Kevin Windham and 934 right there, David Villeman, have moved into second, third, and Villeman has come from nearly last. He's got a shot to win this moto.
Incredible move by Villeman as we see our leader, number 16, Dowd, but right behind him now. Kevin Windham, number 14, and David Villeman. What a finish to this first moto. But it looked like John Dowd had a ride in the park. All of a sudden, he's got some competition on the final lap.
I think he thought he had it in the bag, just like you said, Art. I think Kevin thought he had second nailed, was going to go after Dowd. All of a sudden realized, good thinking, you better even turn it up a little bit more because Villeman is coming strong and has made up so much time each lap on these guys. We got a three-way battle for the lead now.
Terrific for the fans here in the first moto of the 250s. You see Dowd, Windham, Villeman, Tortelli in fourth. Ezra Lusk is up and running in fifth.
Yeah, I would normally say that with this dried out one-line situation that you have in a lot of sections of the track, it'd be hard to pass, but and you see they're all taking the same line through here, but Villeman in a lot of cases has been able to go completely out somewhere else that doesn't look attractive and still make his passes.
Well, Dowd's got the experience, that's for sure. He's ended up second in 250 points twice in his career. He had 3 wins, one of those years in 1997. Dowd coming down the hill. Here comes Windham, though. Dowd can't afford a mistake. Look at that back fender bouncing up and down.
All the weight of that mud underneath that fender makes it look like a paper towel back there flapping. And Dowd, you can really sense the aggressiveness now. He's been riding along all comfortable the whole moto. Now he has really picked it up.
They're approaching the area that Lusk went down and created what we see right here. An outstanding finish. Who comes out of there with traction and power? Oh, Dowd did a wonderful job of staying in front of Windham. Here comes Villeman now testing Windham. The checkers are getting ready. And it is John Dowd taking the checkered flag. His first moto win since 1997. Kevin Windham coming across in second. He's just coming off what might have been a breakthrough race in the second round in Sacramento. Third and fourth, the 2 freshmen, Villeman and Tortelli, coming back from near last for that fine position. Albertine not on that board, 11th. Carmichael in 12th. Let's go back down to Davey now.